Well, hello everyone. I am going live here on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, and we're going to give it a try with TikTok at the same time. You should see my setup. It's hilarious. All right, anything is being winged by prayer. So, for you that are coming in here, this is an effort to raise 468, one, to save my house, and two, also to support students and that are trying to get their ASVAB or their GED. Now, just last month alone, I had four people that passed their GED and five people that passed their ASVAB. So it must be something I'm doing right. So I want you to capture that as well. So if you are here, go ahead and share the live out. And because I really want to get as many people that is going to be taking advantage of this, as well as that has in their heart to see if they can donate to moi. All right. So what we're going to be doing is looking at mostly the math knowledge because there's two different types. So you have a little bit with the arithmetic and also you have the math knowledge. So this is the part that really stumps people. So with the first one, it says, which of the following fractions is the largest? And I know everyone's probably like about to whip out their calculators and start calculating. Well, stop, because these type of tests, the GED, the ASVAB, the Acuplacer, also the TEAS test, if you're thinking about going into nursing, you cannot use a calculator. So put it down. They're like, oh, I'm going to use my calculator anyway. But here's my thing. If you practice using it without a calculator, you're going to be able to basically raise that score up a little bit more. All right. So if we're taking a look at it, I know that we're used to 3/4. So 3/4, that means you're getting three out of the four and only a fourth is missing. So we're looking at it if I did as a decimal, if I said 0.75. Okay. So now you're like, all right, well, that's the largest one. So pause. Just because we have those denominators, we have 13/20ths and we have 13/16ths. The mere fact that they're using those 13s in both slots is kind of telling me something, especially when I have a larger denominator. So I know if I look at 13 and 16, there's a difference of 3 if I think of it in subtraction. Whereas the 13 and 20s, that gives me a difference of 7. So that means if I look at a whole circle and said that I have like maybe one of those gigantoid pizzas that we can cut into 20 slices, and then 13 of those slices were eaten, there is 7 left. But if I think of one of another gigantoid pizza that's cut in 16 and like say 13 of them were eaten, then I have 3 slices left. So when I'm looking at the fractions, and if I had like 5 slices and 3 left, yeah, that's not too bad. But my thing is, it's going to be this C, all right? Because we're looking at basically, I think it's like 0.81. So it's almost like you have like less than 20% of that zero left over. So your answer for this one will kind of freak you out because I know when you take this test, you're going to be like, they're going to give you one question to kind of throw you off. And it's okay. You're going to take a breath and then you're going to mutter right on through it. Okay. So now let's go with the next question. It's going to shock you what the second question is going to be. Look at this 150 plus 173. Are you saying? Do you see it? So the first question is a shock to your system, and you're like, oh, I don't know anything. I'm going to be crazy. No, take a breath and breathe. All right. So we're going to actually take these things step by step. So they're going to give it to you horizontally. So if it's hard for you to see it and you notice it's a plus sign, then obviously it's not going to be A and it's not going to be B. Okay? Those are in the thousands. We're basically adding $150 to $173. There is no blessed way. So if we take a look, we're going to come to either these two. But here's the trick. When you're taking these tests, it's not like taking a test in class where you have to show all your work and everything is going to be all hunky dory and then you show all your steps. No, they just care. Did you pick A, B, C, or D? Which is it? So if you notice, 50 ends in 0, 173 ends in 3. 0 plus 3 gives me 3. Which of those two ends in 3? Go ahead. If you want, you can put it in the chat. I'll be able to see the chat in Facebook. Not so much LinkedIn. I don't know what's going on, but that's all right. But also, I will be able to see what's going on, hello, in YouTube as well. And a little bit on TikTok. It's kind of like, I'm telling you, everything's all kinds of crazy. All right. All right. Awesome job. Who's crying over here? Why are you over talking? Okay. All right. All right. So right now, I do have my quesadilla said D. And then I love how someone's saying, this is an easy question. But see, pause. I know people that took the ASVAB and scored a 0. Okay? That's why I'm here. And it's okay because we're going to raise it up. And I actually, the lowest score that person got was a 20. And then I worked with them for 2 weeks and they scored a 52. I don't know. Something that I'm doing that's correct. Okay? So now the next question. So now the questions are going to get a little more manageable. So that first question is going to try to throw you off kilter. The next couple questions is going to be stuff that you can do because now you're taking a breath and you're working it out. So let's take a look. We're going to convert 62% into a fraction. All right? So 62% into a fraction. Keyword is percent. Now, I know we live in the day and age, everyone's like, you got to give it 110%. Yeah. We're not talking about those days. We're talking about the whole traditional of 100%. So if you're doing 62 out of 100, okay, we're doing 62 out of 100. So I notice, hey, that's nowhere up here. That's none of my choices. So that's telling me I need to reduce it. I need to simplify it. So in order for me to do that, I need to reduce it by something. So I have my friend Pog on TikTok saying that it could be D. So we need to think of a number that 62 and 100 have in common. Since both of the numbers are even, why not use an even number to reduce? Okay? Always look at the tail ends, aka the one spot. Now, if you had two odd numbers, say one was a 3 and one was a 7, that means they're probably going to be multiples of 3s. So you would basically divide the numerator and the denominator by 3. So if I take a look, 100 divided by 2, that's going to give me my 50. So right away, I'm like, it might be D. So let's see. What's 62 divided by 2? That's going to be 31. And since we have a 1 and a 0, an odd and an even, that might be at my lowest term. So with that being said, D is going to be your answer. Now, for those that are taking your ASVAB, okay, this is the type of stuff that you need to think about because the way the ASVAB is scored is they start off small and they start building up. Now, if you start seeing numbers that talk or seeing problems that talk about volume of a cylinder, talking about volume of a sphere, you're doing awesome. Okay. Once they start getting into the volumes, they're going to do a little bit with equations of the line. They're going to do something with slope. That means you're right in that 40 to 50 range. Okay. And if you can get past that 50 range, you're going to start seeing like volumes of a cylinder. You're going to start seeing systems of equations. You're going to start seeing how to figure out an ellipse. That's going to be in your 60s and 70s range. All right. So that kind of gives you like a little idea of what we have to deal with. Okay. So keeping it moving. So if you're on TikTok, keep going, keep tapping. I got 167. Ooh, I lied. 170 on TikTok. I got a couple people on Facebook. I have one person on YouTube. And like I said, the reason why I'm doing all this is to save my home. Right now, I'm short 468. If you are willing to donate, you can donate because I'm also doing an online course for people that want to do their GEDs. If that's the fact, this is where you need to get at. And if you need, because I know it's kind of hard to see because I got used on Super Zoom, just reach out to me and we can take it from there. So go ahead, Matt Tap on TikTok. Let's see if you can share the lives on Facebook. I want this to spread as many as possible because I know this is the time of year that a lot of people need assistance. Even for those college students that haven't been in college since you were a fetus, now you're going back to school. One, congratulations, you're doing awesome. All right. But if you need assistance because it's going really fast, let me know. All right. So for the next one, we say the sum of the measures of the angle in the shape below is it 180, 360, 45, or 90? All right, so we have a geometry question. So they're taking a little bit from algebra, a little bit from geometry, some data analysis and statistics, and putting it all together to give you this ASVAB and GED baby. All right, so if you take a look at this, it's a four-sided figure. So what we could do is if I wanted to, I can put a nice little diagonal right here. So now I have two triangles. If you can't remember what a four-sided shape is, split it. Because we all know that the sum of the angle of a triangle is 180 degrees. So if this triangle is 180 degrees, that means this triangle is 180 degrees. So all I have to do is add those two bad boys up, right? Good. I do have some people there saying it's B, it's B. Good job, Brett. I know it's kind of flashing on by. Is that Tony? Yep. Chosen. How are you? Good. Good job, guys. Nice. So 180 plus 180, that will give me my 360. Nice one. Okay. So moving on to the next. So keep it on tapping on there. All right, we got 233 that's happening on TikTok. I don't want to ignore anybody on Facebook. I know you guys are out there. So if you need, I know they're like, oh, she's asking for money. Well, everyone's asking for money. Everyone's struggling. So let's go. If anything, let's keep these taps going. Let's get the tippity tip tap tap. Keep it on and going strong. All right. So if you need any kind of tutoring, just let that know. Just let it be known. All right, just check out my profile. That's all you got to do. It's as simple as that. Check out my profile. You want to know what I can do, you know what I can see. You're getting samples of it right here and now. All right, angel number 222. Here we go. All right, number 5. What is the area of the shape below? Okay, what is the area of the shape below? So we can tack it out. I'm going to have to raise it up like this. Okay, so yes, there are answer choices. So I see 62 square inches, 71 square inches, 102 square inches, or 19 square inches. All right, so just by looking at it, right here on the side is 1 inch, and they got 1 inch by 1 inch. This whole top section is 8 inches. And then this whole side here is 10 inches. We can figure out what the lengths of the missing sides are. So I notice that this 8 inch is missing this 1 inch. I know some people will be like, oh, just make it into smaller boxes. You can do that. So this side is not going to be 8 inches because we took out 1 inch from the side. So actuality, this would be 7 inches. Same thing happened here. This whole side here is 10. If I take out that 1 inch from the side, that means the length of this side is going to be 9. Okay? So we can figure it out. We can figure out the area of this small triangle. Remember, area is length times width, or depending where you're from, base times height. So all we're doing is just multiplying a couple sides. So I know for this section here, if I wanted to, it's going to be a 7 by 9. And then I'm going to tack in with my 1 by 1. Okay, so 7 by 9 will give me what? What do we got? Because I could do it that way, or I can extend it out this way. And I can do a 1 by 8. And then here I can do a 7 by 9. So that you can do it that way. I know there's so many different ways. That's the one thing about math that's awesome. Okay. So you're saying, okay, I'm getting like all kinds of fun numbers here. I'm seeing some 63s. I'm seeing some 70s. I'm seeing 81s. Okay. Oops. All right. So I'm seeing some 71s. I'm seeing a 71 with a question mark. Thank you, Pam. Thank you, Natalia. Thank you, Lisa. Okay. Rav Dog, I got brick. Yes. What we got? Ain't doing no math in summer. Okay, but you're still here. All right, Gerald, thank you so much. I greatly appreciate that. Okay, thank you, Brianna. We got Ed. We got people hilarious. Can you stop? Nope. 71. Okay, people saying 71. It's easy. All right, this is awesome. I'm glad that you think it's easy. That means I'm doing something great. All right, so if anything, we got Holda's Ricky, we got Sarah, we got all these. Oh, keeps flashing up. Thank you for your donation, Gerald. I appreciate you. All right, so for this section right here, we have 9 times 7. 9 times 7, that gives me 63. Then we have this piece up here, which is an 8 by 1. So 8 by 1, that will give me 8. So if I add together the 63 and the 8, yes, my people, we will get 71. Nice one. Good. Nice, Diane. I know I'm missing a whole lot of people because it's like I'm trying to write and look at the same time. This is not my usual thing, but hey, I am loving this. Okay. Yeah, it's always good to have a nice math refresher. You're darn right. Why didn't we use, hold on, Alexa? That good thing I don't have that in here. Why didn't we use the 10? Okay, so here we go, Alexa. Since from here to here represented the 1. So if I'm looking at basically this, so you thought I wasn't even going to answer your question, right? So if I'm looking at the area of this four-sided figure, then I'm not going to take the whole side. I still have to take that one piece off. Okay, so I have to take one piece off. So again, you could do just the 9 by the 7. Okay. And you could do that. You can do the 10 by 7 plus 1 as well. See, that's the thing. You can do all different ways. There's more than one way of doing it. And you're still going to get the answer of 71. Okay? All right. So let's go for the next one. All right. You're welcome. So, if anything, number 6, another one. This is telling you, okay, this is telling you that you got the square root of x squared. Okay, the square root of x squared. So, right away, what do we got? Some people are telling me A's right away. I'm loving this. All right, so we got G of A. Yes, I got Tasha. Thank you for the follow, Tasha. Got Breeze A, Dante A. Appreciate that. New Moon, you're saying A. I know there's a couple people I probably skipped. I'm hoping saying. Someone's saying B. Okay, Hio is saying A. Hey, Janice, not sure. Okay, not a problem. Thank you for your honesty. Okay, can you still explain it? Of course I'm going to. I just want to take a look to see what everyone has, and then I'm going to explain. I will never leave you in the lurch as much as I can. Okay? All right, A looks good. All right, Avery. All right, Jessica saying B. All right, so now, this is when it comes down to what's called terminology. So, the one thing that you need to know about squares, so x raised to the second power, that's called like x squared. Let me put it up here. Then its inverse is the square root. So squares and square roots, they're opposites of each other. Just like how adding is the inverse of subtracting and dividing is the inverse of multiplying. Whereas squares is the inverse of square roots and vice versa. So in this example, they have both the square root and the square. So they're going to cancel each other out to give you x. And you're probably saying, well, why is it minus x2? Well, let me give you a real example. So if I said 5 squared, okay? If I said 5 squared will give me 25. The same thing will happen if it was negative 5 with the parentheses that's being squared. So negative 5 squared is the same as saying negative 5 times negative 5. And negative times a negative will give us the positive. So regardless if it's positive or negative and it's being squared, your answer is still going to be positive. So in the retrospect to this problem, let me scroll up a little bit. And I wonder if you guys see it. So if it's based on this problem, we have that x squared being squared. So regardless of what x is, if it's positive or negative, it's going to turn out to be a positive answer. So they're saying anytime it goes in, you got your plus minus x. That means your x could be positive or it could be negative. So yes, that's why it's A. All right, how are we doing? Okay, questions so far? So as long as you remember, okay, there you go. That's why we're doing it, darling. Daniel. Hello, Fortnite. How are you? Okay. All right. All right. So, number 7. So, we want to convert 11/4 into a mixed number. Okay. 11/4 to a mixed number. Yes, Daniel, you don't have to keep crying. It's okay. It's like, but you're learning it and you're building it. Okay. All right. So I'm seeing a bunch of C's. Just call me. I think it says Ty. My thing is on the way. Okay. Baby saying C. Lily says want to say C. Okay. Cat mom saying B or C. Breeze, like, I don't know how to. Not a problem, Breeze. Thank you for your honesty. Okay, so we have a couple people following. Thank you. All right, we got Finest. All right, D. We have Jocelyn with the C, C, and C. We have the three dots. Okay, we have the Hey with the lips. I'll dig deep with the lips. So Jocelyn was saying C. Okay, so here's the thing. Slightly a trick question. We know that 11/4, if I want to go from an improper fraction to a mixed number, I will have to divide. So remember, we do not have a calculator. I can tell right away those that are using the calculator versus those that are not. So I want to know how many fours can go into 11. So knowing my multiplication table, we have two fours because 2 times 4 gives me 8. So right away, I know that D and A I can eliminate. So now it's between B and C. And this is how I can tell who used a calculator versus who did not. Because they're both saying the same thing, right? So 7/75 and 3/4 are equivalent. But this is what's going to happen. In order for it to be a mixed number, it is not a decimal. It is a fraction. So 11 minus 8 gives me 3. The 3 is my remainder, and the remainder always goes over the divisor. So put the calculator down. I know it's tempting, but put it down. All right. Has something to do with the answer. Yes. Okay. All right. So this is basically how we're doing it. And again, if we're actually going, the reason why we're here is see if we can sponsor some people as well as helping me with my home. So here we go. If you can donate anything, even if it's $1, that's all it is. I mean, if we had $1 for everyone that's here on this live on TikTok, I'll be really close to my thing. So either we're going to do a Cash App, or let me see if I can unzoom. Nope, because I'm too close here. So either Cash App or Venmo. We are not doing GoFundMe. I am so sorry that they like to take 40% off the amount. That's why I'm asking for the rest. All right. So at Classroom Consultant or Venmo me at Audrey Codner. All right. So keep on tapping, guys. Let's go. We got like around what? 13.4. I think we can do better than that. Come on. You're getting free math and entertainment. Da, 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 da. All right, so let's get it up to 14. If we can get it up to 14, I will go on to the next problem. Okay, so where do I get these worksheets from? The internet. Okay, I try. Janice, I try. It's called trying to keep my sanity. All right. All right. So go ahead. Let's get it up there. Yes. There we go. Thank you so much for the gifts. Thank you so much for the taps. Let's get it. Let's go. All right. So now for 8, convert. Here we go. Convert all of that. No, I'm just kidding. So we know that we got our millions, we got our billions, we got our trillions. So 317 trillion, 400 billion. Who would love to have that in their account? Boom. Hands down. Definitely. We're here. But we're going to transfer it into scientific notation. So the one thing that you need to understand with scientific notation, and this is going to help you to eliminate, it always has to do with the powers of 10. So right away, which one should I be eliminating? Let's hear it and let's put it in the chat. Which one should I be eliminating? Okay, so baby is saying B. You are correct. B should be gone because it's not giving me my power of 10. All right, A and B should be gone. Correct, guys. All right, yeah, no, we got that. All right, so we got that. Eliminating A and B. Yeah, big L, A and B. Yes, community PM. Awesome. So now it's between C and D. So we have a large number. So if we have an extremely large number, your exponent should be positive. So all those people that are telling me the answer is C, you are correct. Now, let me explain why the exponent is 11. So we're trying to get our leading number has to be a single digit. So if you ever see like 31.74, if it ever came out to like 31.74 times 10 to the negative 10, that's wrong. Okay? We cannot have more than one. Sorry, I thought I heard someone knock on my door. We cannot have more than one digit outside that decimal point. Okay, so if it's bigger than that, that's another way you can do process elimination. So since we're basically trying to get that decimal point, which in this case is always going to start right here at the end. So instead of counting 1, 2, 3, that's crazy. There's groups of 3. Here's 3, here's 6, here's 9. Now I need to get it between 3 and 1. That's 10, that's 11. So that's why it's going to be 3.174. And you don't have to add the zeros because the zeros are going to be represented with your exponent. All right. Yes. Okay, so that's why. So if you notice how we didn't take too long with some of these problems. And the reason why is one, we gain a little bit of knowledge. And then they're basically going to give you roughly like 1 minute and 15 seconds per problem. So think of it this way. Instead of like, oh, I'm going to freak out because the clock keeps running. Stop looking at the clock. One. If you get those problems, like the one that we did with number 6, okay, we didn't have to do all of this. We knew that squares and square roots are opposites each other, and I'm going to get an answer of X. Boom. That took like what? 6, maybe 7 seconds. And then think about all that extra time that you just gave to another problem that you're going to see down the road. Okay. Maybe some of the time, the extra time that you took with 5, now you don't have to worry too much because it's already made up because you had this easier problem here. Or plus knowing this one, knowing that, okay, I got a 2 process elimination, and now, oh, I got 3 as a remainder, it's got to be a fraction. Boom, that's my answer. That probably only took like maybe 5 to 8 seconds, depending if you really want to savor the moment. All right. All they care about is, did you pick A, B, C, or D? That's it. Okay. They don't care how you did it. They don't care about all these lovely little notes and over here. Did you pick the right one so you can get the right score? So that's the mindset that you have to have when you're doing with these problems. All right. Awesome. I'm loving this. Let's see if we can get these up. Let's get these tabs up here. We have what? 207, 209. All right. If the zeros are in front of the numbers, then it would be a negative. There you go. Yep. Because the negatives will tell you the smaller numbers. The positive will tell you the larger numbers. There you go, Big Al. Good question. All right. It's probably someone else asked it too, but I'm so sorry. All right. Thanks for the follow, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Give it up. Oh, no. Okay. The neon. Okay. Oh, the neon box. Yes. So they wanted us to find the area of this whole thing. So what I did was I made it into a smaller box. So that's what this is. And the length of this, we have this side, which was 7, and that was my base, and my height, which is going to be 9 because I took off an inch from this top and I took off an inch from this bottom. So instead of it being 8 inches, I made it into 7 inches. Instead of it being 10 inches, I made it into 9 inches. 9 times 7 gives me 63. Then I took the area, the base, and the height. So this was 8 inches times 1, that gives me 8. So 8 plus 63, that gives me our 71. All right. Well, all right. Okay, got a few more. I think I have enough for one more page. I know, because I do have all these other things I gotta pop in. But here's my thing, guys. I will definitely be on live on TikTok. So I'm gonna just try to do this last page. And I will be live on TikTok this afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as well as tonight at 10 p.m. I know, I'm crazy because we gotta get this down. We gotta get it in. Okay? So if you're on Facebook and on my YouTube channel, hey, come on in. We're going to see if we can get it all jiggered up again, like I'm doing here. All right, here we go. Number 9. What point is plotted on the chart? Okay, what is the coordinate of this point? Let's see it. Let's see it. We're going to do the whole page there. Don't worry. I'm going to finish the page. So I'm getting C. I'm getting Kobe saying C. Florence saying C. Kobe C. D. Sorry. D. We have D. Run before you jump. I love that user. Ray saying D. Matthew saying C. Then Ray D. D. Nosh D. Andrea D. D. Janice D. Fats D. Stephanie D. I think it's Miss Coppola. I think that's what it says. There's like a glare. So I want to say, if I'm disrupting your name, please correct me. Saying D. Yes. Anytime you're plotting a point, first thing, you start at the origin. The origin is your 0, 0. Let me just say, this is a coordinate plane. Coordinate planes is basically two number lines meeting at the same point, which is the 0. Okay? So you have your positive side going to the right, negative side going to the left. You got your positive going up, you got your negative going down. Okay, the up down, that's your y-axis. Your left right, that's your x-axis. And the way that you plot a point, it's just like the alphabet. It's your x, then your y. So starting here at the origin, where do I have to go to get to my friend's house? All right, I can't go through people's homes. I don't know where you guys live, but I live in Baltimore. That's how you get yourself messed up. So we're going to, and plus I'm a Philly girl on top of it. Oh, nice. All right, so we're going to go to the right 4. So that means 4 units. That's my x is 4. Then from here, I'm going to go down 2. So that will be my negative 2. So right away, we got that 4. So if you take a look at the signage. Now, these 4 things are called quadrants. Okay, this is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. Here is quadrant 3. I know these are called Roman numerals. I'm showing my age right there. This is quadrant 4. Now, with quadrant 1, all your numbers are positive, both the x and the y. For quadrant 2, your x is negative, but your y is positive. Quadrant 3, everything is negative. Looks like a face. Okay, quadrant 4 is a positive and a negative. You could just look at the signage. Okay, if you know the point exact, awesome. But then if you remember the signage, you can just look at that as well and find that it's D. Alrighty? Okay. I know people are like, why are you taking forever just to do this? Because everyone learns differently. That's just how I feel. I feel that everyone learns differently. Some people may understand it from the first explanation. Some people might need a little bit extra clarity. So, right? You're learning again. Thank you, DJ. I appreciate you. Yes, trying to keep that brain active. That's what we got to do. All right, not a problem, Nash. All right. Ja, I love it. You're like, what? What's happening with number 10? All right. Add all the numbers between 1 and 300. Now, you are not, for the ever most of anything, going to sit here and be like, all right, 1 plus 2 is 3. Okay, plus 3 is 6. Okay, plus 6 and 4 is 10. And nah, baby, we ain't doing that. No. This is what you're going to do. Are you ready? And you're going to be like, all right, I got to remember this. And I'm like, you don't have to memorize it, but at least get a good idea. So our first number, and I'm going to call that A. My first number is 1. My last number, which I'm going to call L, is 300. So I want to know the numbers that are between 1 and 300. So if I'm saying between, there's going to be some kind of division happening. This is what's going to happen. You're going to take the number of numbers divided by 2, and then you're going to multiply that by the sum of the two extremes. So here we go. If I add, I got 1 plus 300. Okay, not to insult your intelligence. Ooh, sorry, got a little crazy. All right, so 1 plus 300, that gives me 301. Let me raise this up so my peoples over here can see. All right, now the n is the number of numbers. So that's going to be 300, right? Because we're starting at 1. Now, if we were starting at 0, that will be 301, okay? Since we're starting at 1, just like a counting number, that counts. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's no lapse. And we're going to take half of that. Now, sometimes I would do my cross simplifying, but that's going to give me a decimal. So I don't want to do that. So I'm going to take this 300 divided by 2. That gives me 150. So now 150 times 301. Now let's think for a second. All right. If I'm multiplying two 3-digit numbers, do you think I'm going to get a 4,150 or a 7,320? What do you guys think? Okay. What do you think? So could I? No. There you go. Not with those 3-digit numbers being 150 and 300. Because even if you think about it, 150 times 300, or even bring it back some. Okay, we don't have to be super accurate. Let me explain why. I could round this. Okay, I could round it. But if I'm looking at my 150 times 301, I could look at it as 15 times 3, couldn't I? If I wanted to round things so I can make them into zeros. What's 15 times 3? What's 15 times 3? Stop putting the calculators down. There you go. Thank you, Alexandra. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Lena. Good. Thank you, Naja. Thank you, Muhammad. Angel. Yes. It gives us our 45. All right. I know there's going to be something with the 50 involved, but since I can kind of just take the 15 and take the 3 and multiply those and see which one will lead me into my right answer. So our answer, as some of you guys have said here on TikTok, which I love y'all, is going to be B. Yes, B. Thank you. All right. So we're just breaking it on down. We don't have to get too crazy, guys. You know, they do want you to be in the military. They do want you to get your high school diploma. Think about all the stuff that you are doing and sacrificing in order to get your degree. You're probably going to be the first that has made a certain step up. Maybe it's helping you with your personal job. There was one young lady, every time I think about GED, it brings a tear to my eye because she said, I'm going to change my whole entire life. And she did. She was in one of my GED classes. She passed the GED. She got a better job. She was able to get her operation, lost tons of weight. She looks fabulous. And now she's traveling around the world. The last time I checked, she was in India for, I think, for a wedding. But still, she's always going out. She's always traveling. She's blogging. She is living the life that she always wanted. So let's not make math be your barrier. Okay? Let's not let this be the barrier. All right. Let me stop yiping and let's get to number 11. All right. So I'm looking at my tabs. What's going on? What happened? Okay, we got 200 in the live on TikTok. Right now, I think we have maybe a couple people here and there just kind of chiming in. But I think everyone's like, hey, let's go to TikTok. This is where it's happening. All right. So, two more problems, two more. So, what is the next number in the following sequence? We have 1, we have 8, we have 27, 64, and 125. What do you think will be the next number of the sequence? Is it 250, 216, 175, or 185? Okay. Let's see what you guys have. Okay, fart blaster. That's hilarious. Saying it's 216. He's like, yeah, she said my name. All right, so we got a couple for B. We have Nigel for B. We had a couple others. That's why it'll be a lot better this afternoon. I'll just be all just on TikTok, but at least this kind of give me a good idea. So how would you find the answer? Ooh, okay. Don't worry, I'm gonna let you know in a moment. Okay, Strawberry saying B. Okay, thank you for the follow, Cap. I appreciate it. Thank you for the follow, Scott. I love nasty. Like, what? Do you guys just sit around and just say, you know what? I'm going to think of the nastiest name and see if I can get approved, right? All right, so yes, we got some B's, we got some A's. All right, let's take a look. What is the pattern? Again, knowing your multiplication facts is going to help you, as well as your introduction to cubes. And you're like, to cubes? I'm like, yeah, not like a Rubik's Cube, to actual cube facts. So if I say 1 to the third power, that's going to give me 1, because 1 times 1 times 1 gives me 1. If I said 2 to the third power, that will give me 8, because 2 times 2 times 2 gives me 8. Raise this up a little bit. 3 to the third power, that gives me 27, because 3 times 3 times 3. 4 to the third power gives me 64, because we got it. 4 times 4 times 4. 5 to the third power gives us 127. 125. What was I thinking? So what we're looking for is 6 to the third power. So that gives you 6 times 6 times 6. 36 times 6 will give me B, 216. So they're testing you to see, all right, you might know some squares, but do you know cubes? And you're like, again, can't use a calculator. Or someone's like, I just did. All right, congratulations. But when it comes to test time, I don't want you to be shocked and say, oh, I wish I had my calculator. Okay, that's the reason why you do that. Now, one of the ways, and I know some people are working on their multiplication facts, one of the ways that you could do is make yourselves some flashcards. Okay, get an index card. You know, if you want to, go to the $1.25 store and just get a pack of regular index cards. On one side, you're going to put your multiplication facts. On the other side is going to be the answer. Once you write it out, don't just go and buy it. You need to write it because your brain is going to remember these facts. All right. So that's why you need to do those things. Okay. So, and then once you get your cards together, you can do some with integers. You can do some with just regular 4 times 2, just positive numbers, but also do a couple for cubes, do a couple for squares. All right. Do a couple for square roots, and just 10 minutes a day. I know, I feel like just 10 cents a day. You would do well. You eventually are going to pick up on your multiplication facts. All right. Now, for 12. Okay. Thank you so much for Christian that passed over for your donation. Thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So, number 12, the average of 53, 27, 32, and 41. Average means what? What does average mean? What is the average? Okay, so I'm seeing some A's, I'm seeing some B's. Okay. And then someone asked me a question about this. I can't say the word, but I have to say this. If you want most of my replays, including this one, give me some time because I got a client in about 5 minutes. So give me some time, but this is where you can go to get replays of my lives. All right. So, yes. Okay. You're finding the mean. That's right. You're going to add them all up and then you're going to divide by the number of numbers. So you have your 53. You have your 27, you have your 32, and you have your 41. Okay, we're going to add all those bad boys up. So 7 and 3, that's 10. 2 and 1, that's 3. So that means we got 13. Carry that over. Okay, the 5 and the 4 and the 1, that will give you 10. And 2 and 3, that will give you 5. So 10 and 5, that gives me 15. So now I have to divide this 153 because I like to group, see if I can group them in tens. Remember, there's like a game that if you group it in 10, it'll bust the bubbles. Yeah, that's why we do it. Okay, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers. So then we ask ourselves, how many 4s can go into 15 without going over? So that will be 3. So once I see that, C and D is out. Okay, once I see that, C and D is completely out. So now I have my 12, subtract it, I get my 3, bring down the other 3, so now it's a 33. All right, so how many 4s can go into 33 without going over? All right. I'm trying to read comments and do things at the same time. So 8 times 4, that gives me my 32. And once I see that 8, boom, we're done. Okay? Remember, all I need is if I can do the process of elimination. And then, okay, let me take it a step further. Okay, I know that 8 times 4 gives me 32. I got a remainder, and I know I could put that decimal point. But we're not solving like we're in school. We're solving so we can get the exam. If you want to keep going, sure. Let's add a 0, make that into a 10. Now I'm going to put a 2 up top. That makes this 8. Let me scroll up. Okay, that makes that 8. Then I have a 2, add another 0 to make that 20. And then you have your 5. And now you have nothing left over. That was really sloppy, sorry. Okay, But remember, when you're taking a test, you have to just narrow it down and then get close to the answer. Remember, you got a minute and 15 seconds basically for each question. Now, for the person that asked me about mean and mode, mode is the most frequent. That's like the easiest one. So, right now in this case, we don't have a mode because nothing is repeating. Now, your median, you have to put the numbers in order. Okay. Median is the middle. Okay. MED. All right. The median is the middle. It's the same thing. Like if you live in an area where they put like trees and flowers in the middle of the street, that's called the median. Okay. That's supposed to be the middle of the road. So you have to put them in order for medians, but you do not have to put them in order for mean. All right. Okay, so as I mentioned, I will be on TikTok. Um, Definitely going to be reaching out to you guys, and I have to skedaddle because it's all kinds of crazy. But if you want to support, all of a sudden I can't find my stuff. Here we go. If you want to support, this is where we can go. See if I can get it all in one thing. I would greatly appreciate it. So, if anything, I will see you guys later. But if you have any questions about any of these things, if you have questions about tutoring, if you have questions about what am I raising the money for, please let me know. Okay, definitely take a look, take a gander. I will greatly appreciate it. And if anything, have an amazing day. And I'll see you guys on TikTok at 3 p.m. All right, toodles.